In this video, I'm going to go over the functionality and capabilities of the Night Security KT5000 and the Night Security KT1000 mini voice recorders. Both of these units were sent to me from Night Security. However, they are not sponsors of this video. This video will cover my actual feelings about these two devices. Let's first review the specifications and differences between these two recorders. Both of these devices are very small. The KT5000 is the larger of the two devices and is approximately 3 inches long, less than an inch tall, and a tad over an inch wide at its base. The KT1000 is circular in design, a tad over 1/4 of an inch thick, and a little over 1.5 inches in diameter. Both of these devices have a magnetic back, and the magnet is pretty strong. Now, I wouldn't trust the magnet to hold in place on the outside of a vehicle or anything like that, but it would be okay like on top of or underneath a desk. But then not all desks have anything metallic to attach to. I want to caution you though, to make sure if you ever get one of these devices and use it for covert recording, make sure you are doing so within the confines of the law. This video is sponsored by OREP Insurance and Working PI Magazine. OREP is a leading provider of private investigator liability insurance. Visit orep.org for a quote today. For instance, here in Colorado, we are a one-party state when it comes to recording a conversation, which means I can record a conversation as long as I am a part of that conversation. There are caveats to that too, as I also have to abide by the ethics rules and regulations for attorneys if I am working for an attorney, and attorneys cannot secretly record anyone. I know some people may be tempted to put a recording device like these, let's say, under a car seat or on top of a cupboard at their house or some other place and let it record all of the conversations that it can. Now, the magnet for these devices may help them stay in place under a car seat, but the legality of that may be questionable. I would use something like this as an everyday audio recorder for things like interviews, neighborhood canvases, things like that. Back to the specs really quick. The KT5000 weighs about 4 ounces, has a 3000 milliamp battery that sports up to 20.8 days of continuous recording, 27.7 days of standby recording, and the 128 gigabyte storage can hold up to 1,520 hours or 63 days of recording on it. The KT1000, on the other hand, is smaller and more discreet and weighs 1 ounce, has a 440 milliamp battery, supports 70 hours of battery life, and has a 64 gigabyte storage that holds up to 800 hours or over 33 days of recording on it. The KT5000 is a zinc alloy metal body. It can record in wave format, play back waves and MP3s, and takes 5 to 6 hours to fully charge. The KT1000 sports an ABS and aluminum alloy body, records in wave format, plays back wave and MP3 files, takes 2 to 3 hours to charge fully, and both devices have a USB-C port for charging and for data transfer. Both can be used as a regular MP3 player, not just as a recorder. I know, not too many people carry an MP3 player anymore, but that is a very nice added bonus for both of these. You can drop any WAV or MP3 file into the recorded folder of the device and then play them back. And they both come with these little headsets that plug into this volume controller that plugs into the device for listening to those recordings. And the controller also lets you switch to the previous or the next recording. As for using these devices, they are pretty simple. The first thing you want to do is charge the unit fully. The KT9000 does come with a power brick and a USB-C cable, but the KT1000 only has the USB-C cable. When you plug the KT9000 in, the red light will come on and stay on while charging. Once fully charged, the light turns to green. For the KT1000, the fully charged light is blue. To operate, just turn on the device. The KT5000 has a push button right here, and the KT1000 has a slider button right here. After you turn the device on, the KT5000 displays a green light and the KT1000 displays a blue light. If the light blinks 3 short blinks, it is indicating that the battery is over 10% charged. If it blinks red, the battery needs to be charged. As soon as you turn the device on, it starts recording, and the lights will go off after a couple of seconds. To turn the device off, just use the power button again. Make sure you turn the device off before connecting it to your computer too, otherwise the computer will not recognize it. These both have date and timestamps for the recordings too. To change this, it is fairly straightforward. If you have Covert cameras, you may be familiar with this process, as many of them have a similar way of setting the date and time. When you plug it into the computer, you will see a recorded folder. This is where all recordings will be stored, and a text file named settings. You can open this file with any regular text editor. In this file, change the time and date to the current date and time. Make sure you enter military time in here. So if it's 2 p.m., you would put 1400. And the date is year/month/day of the month. Right below that is a line that says voice activated recording. If you have on in here, the recorder will only record when it hears a voice. If it is set to off, it will record all the time. Then there is the VOR threshold setting, which defaults to 50. You can set this to 45, 50, or 55. This is the sound decibel level it has to hear to start recording if set to voice activated. From my experience, leaving it at 50 is fine, but you may need to adjust it for noisier or quieter areas. To play back recordings on the computer, just plug the device in and go to the recorded folder, and they will be displayed there. In here, you will also see the date and the time of the recording. I believe that is the time that the recording started. One thing I did notice when trying to play the sound files back on my computer, the native Windows 11 media player gave an error saying it was encoded in a format that was not supported, which is kind of weird. It's just a WAV file. But I just right-click on the file, go to Open With, and use the Windows Legacy Media Player, and it works fine. I think this is a problem with the new Windows Media Player, not the devices themselves. To delete files, you can do this with the computer by going to the recorded folder on the device and deleting the recordings you want deleted, just like any other file on your computer. Or you can use the earbuds to delete all recordings by pressing the play/pause button for 20 seconds. Then after you see the flashing red and blue or green lights, press the fast forward to confirm deleting all recordings. If you do not do anything for 10 seconds, the delete will be canceled. Keep in mind that doing this with the earbuds will delete all recordings. If you only want to delete specific recordings, do that on your computer. Now let's take a look, or rather a listen, to the audio recordings from each of these devices. I had both devices on about 3 feet away from me while I recorded some portions of this video, so let's listen to those first. Then we will try some real-world audio recordings. Both of these devices are very small. The KT5000 is the larger of the two devices and is approximately 3 inches long. Both of these devices are very small. The KT5000 is the larger of the two devices and is approximately 3 inches long. Now let's listen to the recording from inside my vehicle. Again, both devices were recorded at the same time and were sitting on my dash directly in front of me. Okay, here we are. We're in the car. The regular recording that you're going to hear right now is directly on my phone, probably through my Bluetooth microphone here on my headset. And I do have the KT5000, the KT1000 sitting right there on my dash, just above my phone there. The fan is running, so we can see, what the sound is like. This audio that you're hearing right now should be from the KT5000, with all of the, like I said, the fan on and everything else. And now let's listen to the KT1000. This is the audio from the KT1000. Again, the first audio sets here are with the devices sitting on the dash. Okay, now I have both of the devices down below, kind of underneath the front of the seat of the vehicle. Again, this initial audio is from my phone going through my Bluetooth headset here. But this is the KT5000. This now is the audio from the KT1000. Overall, I think both of these devices are excellent recording devices. This has been my regular go-to recorder for interviews, and no doubt it is an excellent recorder. But in comparison to the KT1000, I really think the regular recorder may look a little more daunting, a little more like a recorder. Now, my regular recorder has a screen on it, so that's nice, but I may be using the KT1000 a lot more for interviews, as I can set it on the table and it doesn't have that I am being recorded look to it. In either of these, the KT5000 or the KT1000 would be excellent covert recorders, to be sure, if used within the limits of the law. If you want more info on these devices, go to my official PI Guy website at freeprivateinvestigatortraining.com and go to the PI Gear page from the menu, and you can get the full list of specs and more from there. I want to quickly send out a huge shout out to Eric Hutchinson and Eric Lewis, two of my PI Guy Premium supporters. If you want to know more about becoming a member of the PI Guy channel, click the join button down below. There are several membership levels with many great benefits for each level, including exclusive member videos for all members.